today's podcast, I had Ryan Zolin on. Ryan is only 24 years old, and he's about to do over 100 deals this year off of the MLS. You know, a lot of people tell me that the MLS is dead and that, you know, there's not enough deals on there. It's too competitive, and, you know, it's just obviously not true. He's doing it in one of the most competitive markets in the world in Phoenix, Arizona. And the cool thing is, a lot of stuff he's doing in Phoenix is stuff that my MLS guy, Ray, is doing that's helping us get, you know, I think we'll probably do over 50 deals off the MLS this year with just one guy, right? So I think that it's super cool being able to see his success so young and for him to remain hungry and humble despite it. Because I know for me, if I was having that much success as a young guy, I'd have probably been acting a little bit different. But nonetheless, if you are looking to find deals off the MLS and you're trying to figure out how you can do it with zero marketing dollars, this podcast is going to teach you exactly how to do that. So all that being said, let's jump into it.
Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest,
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
innovate,
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
and inspire.
I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got a young gunner who is making moves on the MLS. This kid is going to be doing over 100 deals this year off the MLS alone. You know, people are saying the MLS is dead. There's no good deals. You know, it's too competitive. And, you know, this is proof, you know, not only this year, but last year he did a bunch of deals as well. He's young. He's developed his own system on how he goes about it. And in fact, I had one of my MLS agents, Ray, kind of utilize some of his methods, and it's helped us get more MLS deals. So we're going to be talking all those things with Ryan Zolin. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up?
Thanks for coming out to Vegas, dude.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. So, dude, first off, you're a young dude. You know, tell everybody about just kind of how you got started.
Sure. I started at 18, so I was fresh out of high school. I had no idea how anything worked. Like, I barely passed high school to start, but the second part of that was I didn't know anything about interest rates. I'd never bought a car, never bought a house. I had no idea how anything worked. So when I was in real estate school, it was extremely foreign. I felt like I was in this just lost mentality. I had no idea what I didn't even know. But I knew real estate was the route that I wanted to go. Just saw that there was a lot of millionaires made in that industry. And so I went to the first place that I seemed like was the best path, and it was real estate school. So a couple of months after I graduated, I started real estate school, and I was out, I think it was like a month and a half after that. And then I started off on a team as an inside sales agent. So 18 years old, hitting the phones 12 hours a day, little cubicle, that whole game.
How was that?
It sucked. But the most important thing was that the lesson I learned was how to call people. At 18 years old, again, our generation, I mean, they're very big on just let's text. Mm-hmm. So to get on the phone and actually call people that weren't expecting me to call them, that was one of the first like objections and also hurdles that I had to get over at a young age. So doing that, I think, was a very good lesson. The second part of that was being an inside sales agent. I got to work a database. So I got to see what a CRM was. I got to understand how to work leads, how the conversations were flowing, and then also like what the conversion looked like with passing them off to the agents.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, how long did you end up doing that for?
I think it was like 4 or 5 months, but closed a few deals. The red flag was when you got a $900 check, and I was like, ooh.
That was a lot of work for $900.
Literally, yeah.
But you learned.
I did, yes.
Yeah, you get on the phones, you know, I tell people this all the time, like, if you're trying to learn how to do it, like, you've got to get down and dirty and do it. You know, it's like,
sure.
You can learn that, like, yeah, you know, you call sellers and I hire a guy to do it, but it's like, nah, dude, if you've never done it, it's very difficult to try and tell other people how to do it.
Without a doubt. And I didn't realize how important cold calling was in general to the industry before starting. So I just knew that I didn't have the confidence with being 18. I was like, why would somebody trust me to help with typically the biggest purchase or sale in their entire life at 18 years old?
Right.
So I just went onto a team to learn, and that's exactly what I did.
So what happened after that?
I found a mentor. I mean, it's a pretty big thing people talk about in the industry, is always finding like the person that could take you under the wing and show you the ropes. The hard part that people don't always talk about is how do you find that person? Mm-hmm. So fortunately, my dad takes care of restaurant equipment out in Arizona, and he hit up this guy that has a pizza shop right across from Arizona State University. Mm-hmm. He was like, hey, Jeff, my son's lost. I know you're in real estate. You're doing like, he makes like 80 to 100K a year. And he's like, why don't you take my son under your belts and see what can happen? So I went to him, and this is one of my first like wins is what I call it, but I really didn't even have much of a win out of it other than I went to him and I was like, hey, I want you to continue doing all the stuff that you're already doing. I don't want anything from it. I want to bring everything that I can to the table. I know how to generate leads. I know how to cold call. I know how to handle CRM. I'll pay for all of that. What I bring to the table, can we split 50-50? And now that's not even that bad of a, like an ask. You know, if somebody were to come and ask me to do that, I'd be like, sure, let's do it. But at 18, 19 years old, I was like, okay, so what do we do? So this guy took me under his wing and we became like mentor-mentee relationship over at a new brokerage. And in that first year, we ended up becoming the number 3 team. So
nice. So, and this was not like on the investing side. This was just
a traditional agent.
Yep.
Buying and selling. The cool thing about what he did was he primarily focused on commercial and business broker transactions. So we sold like a $7.9 million car wash, a $3.5 million horse ranch that was like a full-on business.
Right.
We sold recording studios, sub shops, pizza shops.
Just random stuff.
So
it wasn't even like a real estate guy. He was a business broker.
100%. He's a business guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how long did you do that for?
2 years. So we were mentor-mentee for a year. And then the next year I went to him and I sat him down. I'm like, I want to grow this. Like, let's be 50-50 business partners. Let's get a bunch of people. And then next thing you know, it was like 3 months later, we had 22 agents. So we grew a team. I was 19 years old then, and we were officially business partners.
So you said you did that 2 years. Like,
2
what
years.
happened?
I got introduced to the investment side. So there's a guy out in Arizona. His name is Templeton Walker, and his whole thing is send me your deals. And so he hit me up as a realtor, and he saw I was producing a bunch of like just transactions. We were doing like 30 million in sales. So he was like, send me your deals. I'm like, we're realtors. Like, we shouldn't be like working together. We're your competition, right? And I was like, just trying to figure things out. And we went to breakfast, and he told me he was making 400,000 on the side wholesaling. And I was like, my best year I just had at 19, which is where I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world, but I'm putting 60 hours of a week in work, and I made 130,000, and I'm managing 22 people. What am I doing wrong? And so I went back to my brokers. I'm like, guys, we're missing the boat here. We need to wholesale. We need to fix and flip. We need to do more commercial. We need to do all these different things. And they were like, yeah, no, wholesaling doesn't work. And I realized that it's because they don't get paid on the wholesale deals. So I understood where they were coming from. But I had a decision to make at 19 that I think a lot of people probably wouldn't have made. I fired the business partner, broke that relationship. I fired 21 of the 22 agents, and then I left the brokerage that I was the face of. And I went over to eXp Realty, where I went underneath Templeton, and I wanted to learn wholesaling. So I did that that was only a short few months over eXp. And then Templeton introduced me to Steve Trang.
Okay. What happened with Steve?
Steve told me he's going to make me one of his millionaires, and he did not lie. He said he was going to do that in 24 months. He would not put it in writing. But he introduced me to Jamil Damji, where I became the first student in astro flipping. He introduced me to Brent Daniels. He introduced me to Pace Morby. He introduced me to just a lot of really big name hitters in Arizona that I just wasn't even on the radar.
Right. So you go and work under Steve's brokerage. This is when you're starting to do wholesaling and stuff.
20 years
too.
old.
Yep. So, I mean, going from there, what were you doing to wholesale?
Failing. The whole journey of what I've had, I tell people, I'm like, don't compare at all. What you need to understand is 4.5 years I put in the work to learn. It was just, I failed forward. I was doing direct to seller marketing. I was door knocking. I was trying to do a mix of traditional. I was still working commercial and business broker transactions while trying to also learn wholesaling. So it was I had no direction. I was just kind of all over the board. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I failed. I was comparing myself to too many people. I was spending about $15,000, $20,000 a month in marketing. And then I had some terrible family stuff that hit me all at once. And it was, next thing you know, I had $6,000 in my bank. I was down to $5,000, $6,000 in the bank, $5,000 a month in overhead is all that I could afford. And I went to Templeton and I was freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got 28 days left until I got to get a job. And he's just go talk to a bunch of agents. You know how to talk to them, do this, this, and this. And with 3 days left, I got a check for $30,000. And so I was like, damn, okay. That didn't cost me anything. This was an agent that brought me the deal. They got paid the commission. I got a $30K deal.
Right.
All right, let's do this. And so then I doubled down on that method. Never got backed up again. And then that year we did $250,000. So
What year was this?
I was 21 then. So 23 years ago. So what is that? 2019?
2019.
Yeah.
Is that when we met?
Yeah, it was right when we met.
Yeah, for those listening, I don't even really remember. How did we meet?
I think it was through Steve. Because I was trying to find. So again,
I think you picked me up from the airport, didn't you? You picked me up somewhere.
I picked you up, and then you came, or no, I didn't pick you up. You came to the office and then hung out with us, and I drove you to a show. So that's how we did.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
I went in. I think I probably just went on Steve's podcast for the first time and met some of his people, and you were probably one of those people. And then, I just remember you gave me a ride to somewhere long time ago.
Yeah.
So no, that's super cool. Just how time flies. So I mean,
Really?
at 21 doing that, and then I'm guessing the last couple of years you just kind of have honed that skill.
That's it. What I was able to like put it into analogy form for a lot of people was that the hardest part of being a real estate agent is to find a client. The hardest part of being an investor is to find a deal. So instead of trying to find motivation, at least you know that they want to sell when it's on the market. So we just started going after that and targeting MLS deals more and more. Kind of honed in on that process, like you said, before I really decided to make that like something I wanted to go and broadcast to everybody. I didn't want to go and be the guy saying MLS, 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 doing 5 MLS deals a year.
Right.
So 2 years ago was our first primary year making that our focus. And we did about 40 deals off the MLS. Last year just hit over 60, and then this year we should hit over 100.
Right. So tell me about just like in the last 3 years, like going after this method, like what are some things that you guys do? Like take me from start to finish.
Sure. So while I said like you're not looking for motivation, there are some specific strategies that you've got to target to find motivation on MLS. So there's keywords you could literally filter out. Like there's typically a public remarks and agent only remarks. You want to go in and filter out between both those sections what keywords could be, like motivated, as is, investor, TLC, handyman, fix up, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Next, there's categories like literally pre-foreclosure, probate, anything that will specify a motivating factor as to why the seller would need a cash offer quick. There's also going to be the one that I love right now is days on market. So as the market's transitioning a little bit, we were talking about before the show, but inventory is rising. So all that means is that buyers they have a little bit more of an ability to be pickier. So you have to really focus in on properties where you could get it a little bit steeper. And right now, the most motivating factor is days on market. So anything that's been sitting for 30 plus days, my team's writing an offer on it.
Right. So are they actually writing an offer on every single property, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we call the agents, we build the rapport with them, and then we turn around and we submit the offer ourselves. Or if it's going to be too far of like numbers where we're offering, like typically our benchmark's like $35,000. If it's $35,000 or more under list price, then we'll have them represent us and have them just get the dual agency.
So you're saying if it's 35 grand or more, so it could be 50 grand, you'll have them do dual agent?
Correct. And if they won't, I mean, we'll go unrepresented so the seller nets more money, but the last resort at them would be us representing ourselves. What we were doing in the past is just writing a bunch of offers and submitting it with representing ourselves. But a lot of times what I found is the team wasn't always calling the agents, or we were calling them and they were like, just submit it. Well, all that does is take away the time from the transaction coordinator who's submitting 30 to 40 offers a day. That doesn't make sense. So we started just really honing in on building the relationship with the agents. And then what we found is that even if that wasn't that deal we got, the odds of them turning around and bringing us another one were actually pretty high. So that's how we started building the relationships.
So, I mean, okay, if you're going to do 100 deals this year, how many would you say are like brand new deals you found versus just relationships you've built?
So it's about 60-40. 60% are ones that are brought to us by agents. 40% are deals that we found.
Got it. Okay. So, but to get to that 60%, you had to go find them all initially and get that repeat business.
That's it.
So pretty much most of that 60%, represented you at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're like, okay, I'm going to make double commission. This is great.
Yep. And they have us saved as their favorite contact. I mean, the minute they get a listing or they go to an appointment and it's like a distressed house, they'll come and they'll reach out to us. And so then I started teaching them ways to where they can educate the people in their sphere as to how to bring them more opportunities. Do you have cleaners that go out to properties before a listing? Is it distressed and does the property need a lot of work? Does the photographer that goes out and take the listing photos, do they see the property needs a lot of work? Landscapers, pool people, family members, relatives, neighbors, anything along those lines that are just out of the box ideas to get more referrals back in for them, which come back to us.
Right. So, you've been building up these relationships all these years. What, I guess, are the keys to getting deals? Like, okay, I'm a guy who's starting from scratch and I don't have any agent relationships yet. Like, how would you go about with a brand new person?
I think a lot of it is being overly authentic. I don't think there's this sense of like coming in and like lying. I think a lot of like people that teach this come in and say like, you're the investor, you're the buyer, this, or that. You need to have the buying capability. But what I mean by that is you need to go in and just get a relationship with a hard money lender or working with someone like yourself that would say, hey, I'm going to back you in this transaction so you have the confidence going in as a buyer. But aside from that, when you call them, There's nothing wrong with telling them it's your first deal. There's nothing wrong with telling them how your process works. A lot of what we do and what we teach within agent investors is patience and education. Understanding when you're talking to these agents, patience is knowing that they probably aren't familiar with wholesaling, and they're also not all that familiar with working with investors and how to make it a win-win. The educating side is understanding that while they don't know that stuff, how do you teach them? We tell all the agents about our wholesaling process. We tell them about what our process looks like from the minute we go under contract to the minute we close, and how we do have the ability to wholesale, and we might send it out on a list to just see what happens.
Right.
So I think it's overly setting expectations and being authentic.
So you'll say that before submitting the offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I guess I'm curious, how many offers on the MLS end up working out? Like what's your guys' back out rate?
Yeah.
Everything.
It's a great question. So our goal has always been five a day offers.
Yeah.
Metrics, it's just easy for a guy like myself. I don't think I'm all that smart. 25 a week, 100 a month. Out of that, we were usually getting about like 14 to 16 under contract. When we first started doing this heavily, we were canceling on about like 6 to 7. So, it was like a 50% like cancel rate. Now we're at the point where we're probably closing on about 10 to 12 of them, but we also walk away from earnest money. So if I don't get, if I'm not able to sell it, I'll walk from my EMD to save the relationship with the agent so that way they'll bring us more opportunities again rather than bridge burning.
If you're listening to this podcast, then my guess is you're interested in real estate investing. Some of you are just starting out, while others are trying to scale their business to the next level. But the problem is, with so much information out there, most people don't know which program or coach to trust. Well, I'm a bit biased, but I believe my company, Future Flipper, can help you get to the next level. We've coached thousands of students from all over the world on how to build their real estate investing business. It doesn't matter whether you want to flip, wholesale, or buy rentals. Our coaching program has everything you need to become a great investor. There are many things that we include with coaching, but to give you a few examples, you're going to get an accountability coach. These are people that have had success in their own business, and they want to make sure that you achieve success in yours. We also have all of our documents, our systems, and processes that I've used to buy hundreds of homes. You can copy and paste them directly into your own business. And we have events where you get to meet me, top-level guest speakers, and other students who are crushing it. My students do deals with each other, and I personally do deals with them too. In fact, at a recent event, I just honored over 20 people in our program that made over $1 million in the last year. So if you want to grow your real estate business, head over to futureflipper.com and apply for a call with our team. The call is completely free, and they can help point you in the right direction whether you work with us or not. So go to futureflipper.com and book your call today. For the last year, the real estate market has been on absolute fire. Prices are at all-time highs, interest rates are at all-time lows, and there is more money in the economy than ever. But with so much competition, many investors are sitting on cash, struggling to find great deals. If this sounds like you, then you need to invest with Pineda Capital. With my network and social media following, we get access to the best real estate deals all over the country. And if you're an accredited investor, you can invest with me on those deals. In fact, last year we purchased a 334-unit apartment complex in Georgia for almost $20 million. We expect it to be worth well over $30 million when it's all said and done. Our goal with each deal is to build in so much equity from the beginning that we're able to refinance our investors' cash out and own the properties together with little to no money into the deal. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything. Our team will find the deals, handle the renovations, get them leased, and eventually refinanced or sold. All you have to do is provide the capital. So if you want exclusive access to our deals before they hit the public, go to PinedaCapital.com to schedule a call. We can put your money to work today to start getting you great returns. So go to PinedaCapital.com now to get access to our deals. That's interesting. Yeah, it's playing the long game for sure.
That's all it is, yeah.
Yeah. So, you started Agent Investor, basically with the premise of reaching agents and teach them how to do this, right?
Correct. Yep. So it's designed for agents, made for investors. It's to show agents how to literally triple their income by just doing this. Like if you're working with just regular buyers and sellers, you're on the MLS all day long. The last thing that you should be thinking about here is how to, or the first thing you want to be doing is basically finding ways to obviously maximize revenue. And the way you could do that is just by submitting even a couple offers a day yourself. So designed for agents in that aspect, and then also for investors to know how to work with agents. You're so willing to go and talk to motivated homeowners and sellers and door knock and do all these crazy extravagant marketing ideas, but you won't pick up the phone and call an agent. And I don't know what, I'm still trying to figure out like what that limiting belief is between investors and agents. But the argument I always make is that when you talk to agents, they're a lot nicer. They're a lot happier to talk to you.
Right.
The reason being is that, like I said, the hardest part of being the agent is finding the client. You are their client. The minute you show any type of representation to them potentially, they're going to go to bat for you to try to bring you opportunities.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's the big key I've noticed too with whenever we get deals. It's like I still get deals to this day, literally from agents that I met back in 2015.
oh yeah.
You know, this is 2022 now, and I'm not even an agent anymore, but they still bring deals. And I'm just like, it's crazy just how long a relationship can last you and how many deals it can get you.
Without a doubt. I mean, we've had agent relationships where they've made over 6 figures in a year from us. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd keep bringing you guys deals too. So, I mean, as we transition into this new market, right? You know, a lot of people are calling for a recession and, you know, all this stuff. Like, what are you seeing on your side with the MLS? How's it changed things?
I actually think that this is the, of course I'm biased, but I think this is the best strategy to go after in the near future. Reason being is that if you could do MLS deals in a market where there was 2,000 to 4,000 active listings in Phoenix, now the only thing that's different is that there's 14,000 active listings as of a couple of days ago. So that means you have bigger opportunity to go and target. The only thing to be mindful of is that buyers are going to be a little bit pickier. So you really have to double down on knowing how to comp properties and knowing like how to underwrite them the proper way. So obviously backing up to main roads, 2-story versus 1-story, make sure your square footage is right, year built, anything along those lines, pool or no pool in Arizona. As long as you have like those things understood and like how to like go in and find the right deals, I mean, I would tell you right now, MLS is the way to be. Like, it's free marketing. I don't even think there's high risk with it. There's low risk, high reward. And I think if you were given that opportunity with anything in business, the alternative is that you're told, okay, well, now you've got to figure out in this market transitioning, do I pull back and take my foot off the gas on marketing while it's like pivoting, or do I go even crazier and full throttle down and let's go and double down on marketing? Right. And I have friends in Arizona that are doing both. Like, I have friends that are taking their foot off the gas, not flipping as much anymore. And I have friends that are like, nope, let's go. Let's keep it going. 18 to 20 flips at a time. So I'd rather be the guy that's in the middle ground that's like, I can appeal to everybody.
Right.
Buyer over here, what are you looking for? Buyer that's being a little bit more safe, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Now I could just go find those opportunities and send it to them.
Yeah. I think right now we get about 40 to 50 flips going on. So we got a lot of deals. But it's interesting because, you know, I saw this play out 2 years ago with COVID. You know, everybody had a choice to make on what they wanted to do. And, you know, most people played scared. Yep. And obviously it turns out that it was the best time to buy, right? And so as I look at where things are at today, you know, I kind of see deja vu of, you know, inventory's rising, people are getting really scared again, you know, and a lot of people are not wanting to do anything. But this time around, I would say there are less people than before that are like I think there's still a lot of buyers compared to COVID when there was like none.
Right.
So, you know, I'm looking at it as an investor and just kind of deciding what's best for me at this point in my life. And I think we're in a mix right now where I am trying to kind of not buy as much. I want to wholesale, but I'm not ramping down my marketing. I'm just kind of shifting like, okay, you know what? Like, let's wholesale more just in case. And I had already planned to wholesale more anyway because I wanted to do more deals, but I don't want to do more flips.
Right. That's exactly where we're at. We have 2 big flips right now that we're working on selling. So one's a $2 million deal and then one's a $1 million deal. And what we've realized is that we're just a little over leveraged being in the luxury game. So we're trying to pull back on that and just focus more on the wholesale side and then do more wholesale fix and flips.
So, I mean, what's the plan going forward? Like, you know, with the MLS, to me anyways, I've known a lot of guys who have done it for years. And, you know, that's how I got started. I would find deals off the MLS. And, you know, I was very successful on the MLS for a long time using very similar strategies to what you're saying. And then we had a period of a couple of years where we weren't very good at the MLS. Like, I was not doing it. You know, our MLS guy wasn't very good. And then, you know, this year we've been doing really good again. You know, Ray, who I mentioned earlier, who's been through Agent Investor, he's getting 4 or 5 deals a month, you know, by himself. And so, you know, we're back to doing really good off the MLS. And so it just shows like it's always been there. Like, everyone can always do good on the MLS. You know, my guys, the Boakley brothers, they've been on the show a couple of times and you know, they crush it off the MLS. Like, that's all they do. Like, I meet a lot of investors who spend no marketing dollars and just do great on the MLS.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's going to be my primary focus. I mean, it's obviously the staple of our entire business and what we preach and teach everybody else. But I think that the opportunity is just always there. I think opportunity is wherever you want it to be. And I think that the minute you start looking for it and you start like actually like manifesting it, you attract it. And so with the deals, you have to wake up with the mentality that people need your help. People want your offers. Agents want to work with you. Even if it's not this deal, it's the next deal. And then it just goes back to the authenticity and making sure you create win-win situations for yourself and the agent. Aside from that, I mean, I'm here to stay in the MLS game. I think that's where the future is going to be. And I'm trying to get even louder and just take this message nationwide. I want everyone in the entire country that's an agent to be implementing this and adding this tool to the tool belt.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I totally forgot this, but I bought a deal from you.
You did. Yeah, Tucson MLS.
Yeah, Tucson MLS. I forgot we did that until we were just talking about it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's actually something I want to ask you. So,
Sure.
you know, with the MLS, right? Like I do know that there is a cap to what's possible, just watching guys who do it at a high level, like,
Sure.
and it seems to be that, you know, here in Vegas anyways, you know, I saw people doing anywhere from 50 to 100 a year. That was kind of like the cap. And so, you know, maybe Phoenix is something, well, Phoenix is a bigger market, so maybe
Probably like 100 to 150, I think would be a cap. And I mean, I'll let you know at the end of this year. I would say the cap monthly, the most we've ever done was 31.
31.
31.
One a day.
Dude, it was insane. That was the craziest month. I felt like such a baller. But aside from that, we usually average between 15 to 20. But 15 to 20 is still not bad. On a bad month, it's like 5 to 7 range. But
Right.
most important is just $0 in marketing. My only overhead's about $5-6 grand a month between the office building, some systems and processes and little things. But
Yeah, so I mean, if you're spending, you know, like you said, you know, you're 100 to 150 is the cap. I mean, you sold me one in Tucson, so it's like the goal just to do this in every market. Like, what's the plan?
not for me. For students, yes. I want this method to be nationwide. We've done deals on the MLS in like 20, I think it's 26 or 27 markets total. So I know that this method works nationwide. I want to preach that and have that implemented nationwide. For myself, we're currently in Phoenix, and then we just recently expanded out. So we're doing very, very briefly in Vegas, Texas, Atlanta, and Florida.
With
So-
your actual team.
My team. Yes.
Got it. So why so many markets?
Those ones are just, we kind of saw as the market was transitioning a little bit, we wanted to pivot. We wanted to find opportunity where people weren't really looking and where we knew buyers were. So people in MLS is just, that's very normal. People are not looking on the MLS. Now buyers, there's heavy buyers in Vegas, Texas, Atlanta, and Florida.
Right.
So now it's just, okay, how do I make sure I'm tailoring all my stuff to them specifically and bringing them opportunities that even if they have seen it on market, it's lower than what they saw it listed wise.
Right, right.
So that's why we transitioned to those other markets.
I remember back when I was always evaluating deals, that would happen. Like, you know, I would see these deals off the MLS, I wouldn't get them, and all of a sudden I get an email blast with it off the MLS, and it was actually for a price that made sense. And I was like, dang, why didn't I just offer?
Yep.
Actually, my very first deal that I bought in 2015 as a flipper was like that. I remember having an auto search. I saw this property listed. It was listed at like, dude, I want to say 170, 180. And the guy was showing it for 135. And I was like, I saw that. And like, I remember looking at that house, but how the heck is he selling it at 135?
Yep.
And, you know, sure enough, the guy had locked it up for like 127.
Yep.
And he made a spread. I bought it at 135 and, you know, ended up being a good deal.
I mean, that's all it takes. And what I always like to tell people too is you don't know until you ask.
Right.
And so when you call the agent, just know that the conversation doesn't need to just be, oh no, you won't take that. Okay, sounds good. It could be, okay, well, do you come across a lot of opportunities that are like this? And educating them and then just being patient in the process.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? Like, because most of the agents you talk to are not going to be a deal, right? So do you have a process for planting a seed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say, okay, no worries. I completely understand. I feel like my price probably is a little bit unrealistic. I think the seller might be able to get a little bit more than that anyway. Let me ask you, do you come across a lot of opportunities like this normally? And then if they say yes, then I'm like, okay, cool. Do you have like an investor database that you work with, or do you just put them on the market? Like, what does that process look like? So it's asking the right questions to figure out what their process is like, and then figuring out how I can insert myself into their process. So then it's usually trying to add like a personal touch, making sure that you're calling them by their first name, thanking them for their time, following up with them properly, but not over excessively where you're just annoying them. And then also too, I like one little touch at something personal. So what's their spouse's name? What's their dog's name? What's their anniversary date? This isn't like a first conversation thing. This is when you follow up and you could hear something in the background, or they mention something, or they tell you what their next plan is in the day. Then you remember that and you bring that up the next time you call them.
Yeah.
So we like to send gift cards. We like to send baskets. We like to sometimes just stop by the office and drop off a card.
Yep.
Just little things outside of the box that show you want to show extra effort to building that relationship with them.
Yeah, I remember, and we don't do it anymore, but we definitely should. But I remember one year, I think this was 2018, we did almost 150 deals, and I literally went through everyone that we got a deal from, agent, wholesaler, whatever, and I sent them all like a $50 gift card for Christmas. I wrote a card and just said, hey, thanks for the deal. Looking forward to doing more.
Yep.
And, that stuff makes a difference, man.
It really does. I was fortunate to learn a lot of that from being a traditional agent first. I think the agency side does a really good job of like teaching you how to like nurture those and try to get the repeat business. And it's like the pop buys, like Thanksgiving comes around, you stop by and drop off a little pie. Holiday season, you drop off like a little basket with an ornament, whatever it is. Just little things like that showed me how to like just be first of mind and be in their conversation, in their world. And then from there, you got to take care of them. They'll take care of you afterwards when they start bringing more opportunities. You don't do this on every single relationship, but this is where we classify them as our VIP agents.
Right.
Our VIP agents, we'll go to bat for them.
Right. No, 100%. As the world starts to go more digital, you need to be aware of which businesses are going to thrive in the future. One of the obvious ones is e-commerce. In fact, last year, e-commerce sales did over $4 trillion globally, and it's continuing to grow. Now, if you're like most people, you probably don't have time to learn a whole new industry and start a new business. But there is another way. You could partner with us at Lunar Ecom. We have over 300 e-commerce stores that we have created and managed for our clients. And the best part is, it's completely passive on their end. The business model is very simple. You cover the cost of creating and running the store. We handle everything else. We pick the products, we handle fulfillment, returns, and customer satisfaction. After all that, we split profits at the end of the month. This means that when you win, we win. If you want to learn more about how it works, you can watch our case study at lunarecom.com. I believe that the e-commerce space is going to continue to explode as the world goes digital. So make sure you're with the right partner who's going to be ahead of those trends. So go schedule a call with my team today at lunarecom.com if you want to learn about how we can start taking your passive income to the moon. Most people want to get rich at all costs. They make sacrifices with their family, their health, and their faith, all in the pursuit of money without even realizing it. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? What if you could grow your wealth in all areas of life? Well, it's possible, and that's why I created The Wealthy Way. It's a community of people striving to grow together in all areas. And we have multiple tools for you to use that are completely free. You can get access to the Wealthy Way Planner, where you can set goals and hold yourself accountable on a daily basis. We also have our Wealth Builder Academy, which is over 4 hours of content teaching you how to manage your time, create the right goals, and all the biggest secrets I've used to grow my life, not only in my net worth, but in all aspects. Lastly, we have our Discord community where thousands of wealth builders are all over the world encouraging one another and growing together. And once again, all of this is completely free. There are no upsells, there are no hidden catches. For me, this is a passion project, and I want to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to start living the wealthy way today, go to wealthyway.com. There you can get all the free resources like the course, planner, and Discord community. So go to wealthyway.com. So, for you, the plan is to continue to do well in Phoenix, kind of have these test markets and see how they do. What's the big plan overall? You're already doing a ton at such a young age.
I don't always know, to be completely honest. 24 with what I've had in success in this industry, a lot of it's trying to figure things out. There's a lot of times I still am clueless as an adult. I'm 24 years old. I've only been an adult for 6 years. And there's times I'll call my mom, how do you make this food? Or what do you do with this or this? So I think a lot of it's trying to get better with just being a person. But then also aside from that, I want to be it's the cheesy thing. It's always legacy, but I want it to be impactful. I want what I do at this point not to just be about the money. I want it to be about building community, bringing the people with me. I don't want to be the guy that's lonely at the top. So that's why I created Agent Investors. It's to literally bridge the gap between agents and investors. It also allows my team to grow and succeed, have multiple areas to make money. Aside from that, yeah, I'm just trying to be a good person, do the right thing, build the right community, impact the right people. My
Right.
message will attract the right people.
How's it, leading people at such a young age?
It's very challenging. There's a lot of times where I had limiting beliefs more so 18 to 20 because like I had all those agents and they were all twice my age. So there's a lot of times I was trying to figure out how to communicate with them and also how to gain their respect. A lot of that wasn't always just gained from producing. It was like, how do you manage them? How do you talk to them? Hey, they have something family wise that just happened on their end. How do you comfort them? So a lot of that was life skills. And I mean, I again failed in that. Like I lost people. I mean, had people quit. When I fired all those people, all the agents, like there was just a lot of learning that happened. So now I'm still 24 and young. I think it's just coming from a place of compassion and understanding. I think that's a lot of it. And then just listening. You have to be a really good listener to be a leader. You can't be the guy that's trying to overbear the room and take control and be like, this is my show. So I try to make it more about them than about me.
Yeah, building this collaborative environment, I think the same is true. I have to lead a lot of different companies, and so I catch myself a lot of times being kind of a dictator.
Yep.
And I'm like, even if I think I know what to do, it's still better to get the feedback from everyone else and allow them to have their opinions heard. And a lot of times too, and actually most cases they feel the same way, but if they're the ones who come up with it, it carries a different weight than if I were to just say, hey, this is what we're doing, and do it.
For sure. And I mean, part of it too with my process in that is like, I'm wrong a lot. Like I don't know what I don't know with a lot of things still. So when other people have ideas and topics or whatever inspirations, I'm like, let's try it out. Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out together. And I just, again, make sure I'm setting the expectations of the team that, look, we don't lose here. We win or we learn. So we'll just make the right pivots as we need to. And if we try something out, for example, the last 60 days, we doubled down hard on hedge funds. We did about 10 deals, but we took our foot off the gas on fix and flip and distressed properties on the MLS. So now all of a sudden hedge funds take their foot off the gas of buying and we're like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do? So now it's like we have to go back to our roots, but that affected everybody's pipeline of trying to like get more deals in the next 60 to 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like that where they wanted to go hedge fund. I told them I've seen this go around before with hedge funds. I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 years and hedge funds just stop at any given time. And while everybody's throwing stuff at hedge funds, they're going to buy 10 a day. So if they're getting 150 properties a day sent to them, how are we going to be one of the 10? So we just struggled a little bit, and I told them, like, this is what we might encounter as an obstacle to go through. And they're like, we want to try it. I was like, all right, let's go for it. So just willing to take those chances and then pivot as needed. That's the kind of stuff that happens. And as a leader, I mean, it is what it is. Just got to learn from them.
So would you say, like, the last couple of years, the majority of your sales have been to hedge funds?
No. All end buyers, we literally have only sold like 10 to hedge funds, and it was over the last 60 days.
The last 60 days. Why?
Because that's when hedge funds, it was shiny object syndrome. That's all it was. We were crushing MLS, and then all of a sudden inventory kept going lower and lower and lower. So they were just like, okay, well, how do we offer retail at properties on market to be able to sell to a hedge fund? I was like, okay, well, just figure out what a hedge fund's buy box is. And then we got a rep over there, had a couple analysts telling us what to look for. And so 10 in like 60 days, it's not bad, but it just wasn't where it needed to be for it to be consistent. We've got friends that were doing $100 million plus a year in sales, primarily selling to hedge funds. Easy for the team to be like, well, why can't we do this?
Right.
So,
and why do you think the other people are selling so much to these hedge funds?
better relationships, better systems and processes. I don't know the rest. I don't know if they're direct to seller or what, but a lot of what we came into issue with was communication and response time. So communication between us and middle person and hedge fund analyst was typically miscommunication somewhere.
Right.
Spreadsheet wasn't always checked on time. And then we were in 5 to 7 days responses. But to get deals on the MLS, we were 7
You're
to 10
already
days.
over due diligence.
Exactly. So
Yeah, hedge funds would make it tough on that.
they do. And I mean, I still think there's opportunity on the MLS for hedge funds. The problem that people run into is that when you're buying at retail and getting things under contract, if you're not planning on buying it yourself, your cancel rate goes up a lot more because you're relying solely on one buyer and a hedge fund paying retail.
Right.
Fix and flippers and buy and hold they're not paying retail. So
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing, I guess, as far as MLS? I mean, you're going to keep doing it. I mean, do you ever plan to try and scale and go direct to seller?
I think so. We've been building up like this nest egg to get pretty liquid. So when a market like this does kind of transition, we have the right ability to go and buy properties. So I think direct to seller would come in the mix, but I think it would be coming more for us to either transition to taking them down as wholesales, or even bigger picture would be maybe going commercial and development side and going direct to landlords, direct to whoever the owner is of the complexes, the buildings, and so on.
Right, right. Yeah, I've been noticing, man, just being in the commercial game now with the syndications and the apartments we're buying and, like my land. Dude, I mean, I was talking to the developer, across or around all the land that I own for my mountain. So he was telling me, they're now selling the developments, these houses that they're selling are like $5-6 million all around me. And their lots are like 15,000 square feet. And so they're not even half an acre, maybe even some are like 12 to 14,000. And they're getting, 1.3 million for that lot.
What'd you pay?
Well, I bought 2 acres for 600 grand and I have better views too. And so he's like, dude, like you need to like split off your land and like let us sell them as parcels and all this
On
stuff.
top of the mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
That's not as powerful though. You got to keep the whole mountain.
I
As,
know.
as one. Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
But but they're like, look, I mean, if you split it into 6 parcels and, we are getting 1, 2, 1, 3 and yours is better. I mean, like even if I got say 1, 4 on 6 parcels, I mean, you're talking, what is that?
Individual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 8 million plus.
Yeah.
So, that's not a bad flip. 600K to 8 million.
Are you building on the mountain, or are you guys building somewhere else?
I'm going to build my house on the mountain, but I also am moving into a different property
Gotcha.
that we got as a good deal. And yeah.
Okay.
So doing that, but it's just funny, like looking, like you're saying, like I want to transition in these bigger commercial deals. And I've seen it. I'm just like, dude, that mountain could make me more money in one deal than it's made in years.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It's a slower play, but if you have the patience and the time and the ability to source the deals, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to make some money. So
Yeah, 100%. Well, dude, I think what you're doing is amazing. It's really cool to see like how far you've come since that car ride. Cause I just remember during the conversation, you were telling me just about you getting started and, you were already having some success by then. And I remember, you were very humble and, always seeking to learn from other people. And I think that's kind of what you've done a good job on, is just getting yourself in the right circles and, always trying to provide value first. I think, whether it was selling me a deal or, helping my guys out. And then, it's just like, you're always trying to provide value. So like, I really think it's a great thing for people who are maybe watching this that, are younger than you or similar age. And they're like, man, why does no one help me? And it's like, well, dude, look at what Ryan did, right? He made $900 working 12 hours a day, on the phones. He went and brought value to a guy before they became partners. He, wanted to learn under these people. He went in someone's downline. He did, and speaking of downline too, you're now in Real too. I forgot about that.
yes, here we are. We are. We're going to be teaching with Wealthy Agent. This downline is going to be incredible. I mean, we got you, we got Steve Train, we got myself, the community we're building. I mean, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. So it's just like always finding ways to constantly provide value, even no matter how successful you get. You're going to have a great year and, there's so many people that look up to you and you're still always looking, for guidance. Before we got on the show, you're like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, what's the best way to do this,
Yep.
And that's what it always takes. That's what I've always noticed from very successful people. When I see somebody who asks the right questions, I know they're going to be successful versus somebody who just like, you can tell it's just like a wasteful question that they're not going to do anything with.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all that, man. Yeah, it's been a journey. I'm not self-made. I've learned everything from the people around me, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for even guys like yourself, like just willing to come and lend me a hand. So I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate all the help that you've done for me over the years.
Yeah. So for everyone who's interested, how can they find you?
Instagram, TikTok, and then my Discord. Those are the 3 best places. So Instagram's probably the best place. Just my first and last name, Ryan Zolin, RyanZolin. And then I'm pretty responsive on there. be able to see all the other stuff.
And then how can they find out about Agent Investor?
Yeah, check out agentinvestors.com. We'll get a code through Wealthy, and we can get that all posted inside the program for everybody. But agentinvestors.com, it is the best resource out there for finding MLS deals and working with real estate agents.
I love it. Well, guys, go check out my man Ryan. We got some great tips for finding MLS deals. They are definitely out there. He's doing it in Phoenix. We're doing it here in Vegas. Same kind of strategy. So it will work anywhere. So if you're looking for deals, go try that out. You don't have to spend any money. It's risk-free. It's awesome. So anyways, if you got value out of this episode, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.